So today's video is another video in our series of the Hachette Disney Crochet magazines, and today we're moving on to issue 36. The square that we're going to be doing today is the Coco Fiesta flower, and sorry, my new cakes of yarn are so big they take up the whole screen. So it's this square down here that we're going to be making today. Very strange mix of colours, can't say we've done similar to this one before, and also it looks like we're going to be using a lot of black, so I will try my best to focus the camera because, as you know, black is the hardest colour to work with because it's quite difficult to see the stitches, but like I just said, I will do my best to make sure that I keep the camera as focused as possible so you can see what is happening. So I've got 6 colours laid out in front of me for this square, so we're going to be using the sunflower, the black, the white, we've got the bright red, we've got hot pink, and we've got cyan. So I will just say I have waited all day to film this video because there's currently a storm going on outside, so I'm really sorry if there's a lot of interference or background noise, but it's already been 2 weeks since my last video and I couldn't put it off any longer. I've got so much going on this week, it was either film now or not at all. So we're starting off with the sunflower, and we're actually starting with a different way of putting our yarn onto our hook this time. So no slip knot on the hook, we're not doing a magic ring, we're doing something completely different. So I will get my sunflower yarn ready and I'll show you what you need to do. So the first instruction for this square is to use the sunflower yarn to create a padded foundation ring. Now this isn't something that I've done before, it's not something that you're going to see very often. As you guys know, I've been crocheting for over 10 years and like I said, this isn't something that I've done before, so don't go thinking, like, if you can't do it, don't go worrying too much, or if you don't like doing it, don't go worrying too much, because it's honestly something that you probably won't see again. So they're asking us to start off by winding this yarn around a fingertip 15 times. So I guess I'm going to pinch between my thumb and my index finger, and then I've wound around once and just keep going until I've done 15. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. It then says to slide off carefully, so I think here the best thing to do is on our right hand with our index finger and our thumb to pinch together all those circles when we're pulling it off. It's quite tight, there we go. So I've got them all held there in between those 2 fingers, and now I'm just going to pass over and hold them between the index finger and my thumb of my left hand instead, because for the next instruction we do need to use our crochet hook. So once we've done that, we want to put our hook through the middle of all of the circles. So make sure, like, turn your circles over and just make sure you've gone through all of them. And we want to use the hook to pull the working yarn through to the other side like so. Then once you've done that, we need to do a slip stitch. So you just want to yarn over your hook and then just pull it straight through that loop that's there, that's already on your hook. Once we've done that, we want to chain 1. So we're yarning over and pulling that one through the loop that's already on our hook. And then we're going to work 16 double crochets into the ring that we've just made. So what we're doing is we're putting our hook back through the centre of the circle, and again, like I said before, just check to turn it over and just make sure that you've actually got all of those loops when doing so, and I'm not confident that I have here. I just sorted that out and made sure that all my circles are in the right place. So I'm going in through the centre and I'm pulling up another loop, and then I'm yarning over and pulling through both loops on my hook, and that is 1 double crochet, and we need to do 16. So back in through the centre and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. I don't know if you've noticed, but I have just gone back, undone mine and done it all again because I had a loop through the centre. So if it does look slightly different to the frame like a couple of seconds ago, then that is why. So once you've done your 16 stitches, you want to do a slip stitch into the first stitch that you did. So we're going in through the first V, which is, sorry, it didn't focus, the first V, which is just here. And then pull that one straight through the loop. You can actually fasten that one off now because we are changing colours over to the brick red. And I don't know if anyone's noticed, because we wound that yarn around our finger and wound over the end of the yarn, we've got no ends to darn in. Yay! Now, that doesn't mean an awful lot given the fact that there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colours in this, so we will have, you know, 12 ends to darn in at the end, at least. But this makes it 11 because we've already just wound one in. Yay! So, sorry, I'll stop going on. You know what I'm like. Come on, you know what I'm like by now with all these videos. Let's just move on to the brick red. So we're fastening this one off, and then we want to join the brick red to any of the double crochets that we've already done. Doesn't matter which one, so I will show you in a second how to do that. Make sure when you pick up this shape again that you have got the right side facing you, just to show you the difference between the two. It's quite flat on the top. This is the front. You can see your lines from the side. The V's at the stitch are flat with the stitches that are going around inside. If you turn it over, and you'll see the difference now. There are no V's, there are just horizontal lines, and it's quite protruding, the centre bit, if you see what I mean. The centre bit where we've done those stitches are quite raised, and then the edge stitches are further down below. If I turn it on the side, you can see what I mean. They're further back than the top of those other stitches. But if we turn it this way, it's all completely flat on the top. Anyway, hopefully you can distinguish between the two. So we're moving on to the brick red, which I've got ready just here. And we need to go through any of the double crochets. It doesn't matter which one you go into. So what we need to do is just go in through one of the stitches and just join our yarn. So my yarn is attached. I'm then going to put my hook through the stitch that I joined the brick red to and just pull that one through. From there, I'm going to chain 3. So I'm yarning over and pulling through. There's 1, 2, and 3. We then want to do a treble into the same stitch that we've just done those chains in. So for our treble, we're yarning over back into the same stitch where your chains are coming from. So we're going in through this one and pulling up a loop, so we've got 3 loops on our hook. We're then yarning over again, pulling through 2, yarning over again, and pulling through 2. We then want to do 2 trebles in each of the next double crochet stitch going around. Now obviously we had 16 stitches. We've already crocheted into one of the stitches, so there's 15 stitches left. So we need to do 2 trebles in each of the 15 double crochets going around. So by the end of the round, we will have an extra 30 stitches. So I'm yarning over into the next one, pulling up a loop. So I've got 3 on my hook, yarn over again and pull through 2. Yarn over and pull through 2. So there's 1 in that one, and then my second one into the same stitch. So I've done 2 into the next stitch, there's 1, and 2, and I've done 4 into the next stitch, 1 and 2, and I've done 6, next stitch, 1 and 2, and I've done 8 into the next stitch, 1 and 2, and that's 10 into the next stitch, 1 and 2, and there's 12 that I've done so far, 13 and 14 into the next stitch, into the next stitch. So there's 15 and 16 into the next stitch, 17 and 18, next stitch, 19 and 20, next stitch, 21 and 22, next stitch, 23 and 24, next stitch, 25 and 26, next stitch, 27, 28, and then we've got 29 and 30. So the next step for round 2, we want to join with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain that we did. Now that isn't one of the trebles that we've just done. Those are our first 3 stitches that we did at the start of the round. So count up 3, going into the 3rd chain, pull that one through and pull through again, and there we have round 2 complete, and we can fasten that one off, and in the next round we're going to be working with the hot pink. So for round 3, we want to join the hot pink to any of the trebles. So I'm just going to go ahead and join that to any of the stitches. It doesn't matter which one. And then once you've attached it, put your hook through and draw up a loop. We then want to chain 2. So there's 1 and 2. We want to do a treble into the next stitch, not into the same one that we've just done our chains into. So we're yarning over and going into the next stitch, pulling up a loop, so we've got 3 on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. We then want to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to treble 2 together over the next 2 trebles 15 times. So by that we're going to create a decrease. So we're going to join the next 2 stitches together and just make them into 1 stitch. So I'll show you how to do it. We're trebling 2 together. So we're yarning over and go into your next stitch and pull up a loop, and you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops, so you've got 2 loops left on your hook. We then want to yarn over and we're going into our next stitch this time, not the same stitch. Pulling up a loop, and you'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2, and you'll have 3 loops on your hook. You then want to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. We're then chaining 2. 1 and 2. I'll show you that one again. So we're trebling 2 together again. So yarn over into your next stitch, pull up a loop so you've got 3 on the hook. Yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over into your next stitch and pull up a loop so you've got 4 on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops and chain 2. 1, 2. I'll show you once more. So yarn over into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over into your next stitch, pull up a loop so you've got 4 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops and chain 2. We need to repeat that going all the way around, so I will carry on with that and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I've just gone all of the way around. We then need to chain 2 after our last treble 2 together. There's 1 and 2, and we're finishing this one off with a slip stitch in our first treble. So those stitches there were our chains, and this is our first treble next to it. So we want to go in through the top of that one, pull the yarn through and then pull through again. You can actually fasten that one off. For round 4 we're going to be working with yarn D, which is the black, and we're going to be joining it to any of the 2 chain spaces, so you can put it through and join it to any of the gaps. So my yarn is attached to one of my 2 chain spaces, and once you've done that you need to chain 4. So there's 1, 2, 3 and 4. We then want to do 2 trebles in the same space that we've attached our yarn to. So we're yarning over into the space that we joined our yarn to, pull up a loop and you'll have 3 on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And we're going to repeat the same stitch into the same space. After you've done your 2 trebles into that space, you want to do 3 trebles into each of the next 2 spaces. So yarn over, I'm going into my next 2 chain space and pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's my first treble. I'm going to repeat that and do a second one into that space, and then we need to do 1 more into that same space. And now we need to move on to our next 2 chain space and do 3 trebles into that space. There's 1, there's 2 and there's 3. Into our next space, we want to do 2 trebles. So carrying on with the same stitch, there's 1 treble and the second. Into that same space now, we need to do a double treble. So we're yarning over twice and into the same space that we've just done those 2 trebles. And now we've got 4 loops on our hook. We're yarning over, we're pulling through 2 loops, so we've got 3 on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2 again, yarn over and pull through 2 again, and you've just done a double treble. After your double treble, we're chaining 2. 1 and 2. Into our next space, we want to do 1 double treble followed by 2 trebles. So we're yarning over twice again, into our next space and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. We then want to do 2 trebles into that space. So yarn over into the same space and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and the same stitch into the same space. So in the last 2 spaces, we've done 2 trebles and a double treble, followed by 2 chains, and then a double treble and 2 trebles following it. And that should hopefully form the corner of this pattern. And I don't know if you can see it now, but we've created that corner where we've done the 2 chains, and we're starting to go down the next side now. So the rest of this pattern on this round will just be a repeat. So we want to do 3 trebles into each of the next 2 spaces. There's 1, 2, and 3, and the same into the next space. 1, 2, and 3, and now we need to make our next corner. So the same as what we did for the last one, it's 2 trebles and a double treble in the first space, then chain 2 followed by a double treble and then 2 chains. So our 2 trebles in the next space to begin with. There's 1 and 2 trebles, and now our double treble. Yarn over twice into the same space and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're at the corner, so we want to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then a double treble followed by 2 trebles into the next space. So yarn over twice into the next space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now we want 2 more trebles into the same space. So yarn over into that space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and 1 more treble into that space. We now need to repeat what we've just done another 2 more times. So it's 3 trebles into the next 2 spaces, yarn over into your next space, pull through 2, pull through 2, there's 1 treble, 2 treble, and 3 trebles into the next space. There's 1, 2, and 3, and for our next corner, 2 trebles into the next space, 1, and 2, and now we need to do a double treble, so yarn over twice, same space, we've got 4 on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then another double treble into the next space, yarn over twice, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, 2 more trebles into that space, there's 1 and 2. Now we want to do 3 trebles into the next 2 spaces. There's 1 treble, 2 and 3. Repeat the same into the next space. There's 1, 2 and 3. And now we're at our last space. Into this one we want to do 2 trebles followed by a double treble. So do your 2 trebles. There's 1 and 2. We now need a double treble in that space, so yarn over twice. Into that space, pull up a loop. You've got 4 on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. After we've done that one, we want to chain 1. And then we want to finish off this round by joining with a double crochet into our 4th chain. Now I appreciate it's very difficult to see as it is black yarn, but those there are our chain stitches from where we started the round. You want to count up 4 V's, and so you're in at your 4th chain. I've just gone in through that one. Pull a loop through, we're then yarning over and pulling through both. So we finished off with a double crochet there rather than finishing off with our usual slip stitch. We're carrying on with the same colour for this round, so we want to chain 2. So there's 1 and 2. After we've chained 2, we want to do a half treble into the corner space, which is the gap just here. So for our half treble, we're yarning over, we're going in through the space and pulling up a loop, and we'll have 3 on our hook. We're then yarning over and pulling through all 3 loops. We then want to do a half treble into each of the stitches along the top here. I'm not going to tell you how many there should be, as I can't give away the full pattern on camera due to copyright, but I will do a few with you just to show you what you're doing. So we're yarning over, we're going into our first stitch, pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through all 3, and I've done my first half treble. Yarn over into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and I've done 2. Yarn over into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. I'm going to go to the first corner off camera doing my half trebles along, so you can't see exactly how many there should be, obviously again due to copyright, but if you look under round 5 in your magazine, it will tell you exactly how many there should be, and I'll meet you at the first corner. So I've done my half trebles going along. Again, I'm really sorry that I can't tell you exactly how many there should be for those that haven't got the magazine, because obviously it is a magazine subscription that we're following and we're paying for the pattern, so it is due to copyright as I haven't written them myself. So once you get to your first corner for round 5, we're doing 2 half trebles, 2 chains, 2 half trebles into the corner space. So if you yarn over into the corner, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 for our first half treble, and then we're going back in and doing a second half treble into that corner space, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 2 more half trebles into that corner space. So for this round, we're doing half trebles into each of the stitches along. In the corners, we're doing 2 half trebles, 2 chains, 2 half trebles. I'm going to go all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end to show you what you need to do at the corner. So I've just gone all the way around for round 5. The last thing that we need to do is to do 2 half trebles into our corner space just here. So I'm yarning over into my space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3, and then repeat that again into the corner space for our 2 half trebles. We then want to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then we want to join with a slip stitch into the second chain. So again, it's quite difficult to see, but there's like some chain stitches there that we did at the start of the round. So I'm going to go into the second one, pull that one through and pull it through again, and I've finished round 5, and we can fasten off the black. We're going to be working with the cyan, which is the blue, for the next round, and so you can join that one to any of the corner spaces. So we're now moving on to round 5, and I've attached my cyan blue to a corner space. Remember, this isn't the corner that we're working into. There is a small hole in the rows of the half treble crochets that we've just done. So make sure you've got your cyan on your hook, and then we're chaining 3. So there's 1, 2 and 3. We then want to do a treble into the same space that we joined our cyan yarn to. So we're yarning over and we're going into the corner space and pulling up a loop, so we've got 3 on our hook. We're then yarning over and pulling through 2, yarn over and pull through 2 again. We're then skipping 2 stitches and then doing 2 trebles in the stitch after. We're then going to skip 1 stitch, 2 trebles in the next, skip 1 stitch, 2 trebles in the next, all the way along. So we'll end up doing it 7 times. So I'm just going to yarn over ready to do the 2 trebles that I need to do. And then we need to look at which 2 stitches we're skipping. Now I understand this is black and you probably can't see. So I've got a stitch here and I've got a stitch here. I'm trying to differentiate like with them and the fact that the other wall here as much as I can. So I've got 1 stitch here and 1 stitch here, and so I'm going to go into the third one, skipping those first 2 stitches. So I'm going in here, pulling up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and I've done my first treble into that stitch. I now want to do another treble into that same stitch. From now on, we're just skipping 1 stitch, not the 2 stitches that we originally skipped. So I'm yarning over, I'm not going into my next one, and you can actually see this time, look, there's a hole. I've covered it up now, you can't see it, now you can. That's my next stitch. I'm not going into that one, we're skipping that one. And we're going into the one after. So if I turn it that way, you can see the hole slightly there. So not in this one, we're going in the one after. And we're doing 2 trebles into this one. So there's 1 and 2. Same thing all the way along now. Skip your next stitch, 2 trebles into the one after. There's 1 and 2. Skip a stitch, 2 trebles into the one after, there's 1 and 2, skip a stitch into your one after, there's 1 and 2, skip a stitch into the one after, there's 1 stitch and 2, skip a stitch into the one after, there's 1 treble and 2, and so far we don't count the first 2 because that was into our corner space. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So now that we've done our 7 lots of stitches, we're skipping the last stitch and now we're at our first corner. So into the corner we're going to do 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles. So sticking with the same stitch, we're yarning over into that corner, pull through 2, pull through 2, and the same stitch into the corner, pull through 2, pull through 2. We're then chaining 2 and we're doing 2 more trebles into that corner space. So we're now repeating that, going all of the way around. After your corner stitches, we need to skip 2 stitches like we did at the beginning of this row. So we're now going to skip 2. I'll just do that first bit with you. So we're skipping 2 stitches and we're going into the third and doing our 2 trebles. There's 1 and 2, and from now on we just skip 1. So skip 1 stitch into the one after. There's 1 and 2, and you're going to continue with that along, skipping 1 stitch, doing 2 trebles in the stitch after. In the corners it's 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles, but always remember to skip 2 stitches immediately after a corner. I'm going to go all the way around and I'll meet you to show you what to do in the last corner. So I've gone all the way around. We're finishing off with 2 trebles into our corner space. So continuing on with the same stitch, yarn over into your corner space, pull through 2 and pull through 2, and then 1 more into that corner space. We then want to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're joining with a slip stitch into our third chain. So we've got 3 chains here at the start of the row. Just count up 3 and go in through that third one and do a slip stitch. You can now fasten that one off. We're going to be working for the final round in the black again, so you can join your black to any of the corner spaces. So I've attached my black to any of the corner spaces, doesn't matter which one. Just putting it on my hook, and then we want to chain 2. So there's 1 and 2. We then want to do 2 half trebles into the corner space that we joined the black to. So we're yarning over into the corner, pull up a loop so you've got 3 on your hook, and then yarning over and pulling through all 3 for the half treble. I'll repeat that one again into the corner space. So pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. We then want to do 2 half trebles into each of the next 8 spaces that we've got. So by the spaces, we're going into these holes in between those trebles that we did on the last round. We're not going into the tops of the stitches. So yarn over, and I'm going in through the gap and pulling up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Yarn over and back into the gap, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. And we're going to do that all the way along until the corner. So yarn over into the next gap, yarn over and pull through all 3. And we're just going to keep going along. I'll do that as quick as I can for you now, just to try to make sure the video is not too long. And then we can catch up and show you what to do at the corner. There's 1, 2, 1, 2, and my last 2, 1 and 2. So there should have been 8 gaps that you did that in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know we've got the correct amount of stitches. Into the corners, we're doing 3 half trebles, 2 chains, 3 half trebles. So yarn over into your corner, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3, and do 2 more. So there's my second, and I've done 3. I can now chain 2, and then 3 more half trebles into that corner space. Would help if I did that correctly. There's 1, 2, and 3. So we're now just going to continue along with 2 half trebles in every gap. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Continue along. Remember, in your corners it's 3 half trebles, 2 chains, 3 half trebles, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So that's the last of my 2 half trebles into the last space that I've got. So into the corner I want to do 3 half trebles, which is carrying on with the same stitch that we've just been doing. So there's 1, 2, and 3. You then need to chain 2, 1 and 2. And then the last instruction is to do a slip stitch into the second chain that we did. So I know you can't see, but there is 2 chains just there that we did at the start of the round. So I'm going to go into the second one and do a slip stitch. And we can now fasten that one off because that is the square complete. We've just got to do the border with the white. So go ahead and join your white to any of the corner spaces. I've joined my white to a corner space, and now we're going to do the border. So we want to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then we want to do a half treble into each of the next 10 stitches. So yarn over, we're sticking with the same stitch from the last round. Go into your first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. There's 1, and into your next stitch there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. We then want to do 2 half trebles into the next stitch. So yarn over into your next, yarn over and pull through all 3, and then we're repeating that same stitch into that one, and then we are doing 11 half trebles into your next stitch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11, and we're at our first corner. Into the corner we're doing 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble. So into the corner, yarn over and pull through all 3, 2 chains, and then 1 more half treble. So I'm going to continue along off camera. It's 10 half trebles, 2 half trebles in the next stitch, 11 half trebles. Your corners are 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble. I'll meet you at the end of the round. I'm at my last corner, so we need to do 1 half treble into the corner space, chain 2, and then finish off with a slip stitch into the second chain. We can now fasten that one off. And there is your square complete. That is the Coco Fiesta flower square from issue 36. I hope you've enjoyed making this square. I'm really sorry if it's quite difficult to see the black stitches, but obviously it is notoriously difficult even as a crocheter to be able to see your stitches, so being able to translate that on camera is actually really difficult. But I hope you've enjoyed it anyway and been able to follow along and make your square. Leave a like for this video if you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment below if you didn't like it, if you did like it, if you need any help, like I always say. And remember to hit the subscribe button if you want a notification for when the next video is released. So all that's left to say is I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!